Okay, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and create a plumbing plan for our home. Plumbing plans are something that is usually required, and it's just a general pathway for how the pipes are going to travel in your house. For this house, I'm going to design a 2D plumbing plan, but we also can create an actual 3D representation of how our pipes will work if we want to invest the time in it, and we will in a later tutorial. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to want to do is duplicate our level. So right now we have level 1. We want to keep this separate from our plumbing plan. So I'm going to right click on level 1, go over to duplicate view, and we are going to duplicate this. So we have a copy right here, and we're going to right click and rename that copy to plumbing plan. And if you had multiple floors for your home, you'd have plumbing plan floor 1, plumbing plan floor 2, etc., etc. We're just going to keep this one simple. So we're just going to have this as our plumbing plan. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now that that's in place, we're going to need one more thing before we get started. We're going to need a water heater. When water enters your house, it is cold. It is coming from some centralized purification center somewhere where they're able to essentially process it and provide you with clean water. But it doesn't come to you hot. It comes to you at whatever temperature is running through the ground. And then your water heater kicks in and heats up the water that circulates through the different fixtures in your home. So to add a water heater, we're just going to go back to component. It's asking me if I'd like to save the project, so yeah, why not? And I'm going to load in the water heater. It's in load family, plumbing, architectural, fixtures, and I think I went one too far ahead. Um, architectural equipment, water heaters, water heater. Okay, water heater typically goes in a small closet. It can be near the main panel as long as they are not, intertwined. That could be bad. But let's go ahead and say there was a small closet area over here. I'm going to go ahead, place in my water heater, and put a small interior wall to kind of act as a division line for this. That's my water heater. The next thing we want to know is how water is entering and leaving the house. Typically it's traveling in the direction of what's closest to the water treatment centers. That's going to treat your water and send it back to you. And let's just go ahead and say it's going to travel here. Pipes typically travel through walls when possible, if it is an exterior wall or a plumbing wall, and it can also travel through the floor, which we haven't actually added yet, but we can. Okay, so I think I have a general idea of how I want this to travel. We also need to create the pipes. So the pipes are going to look different, and how I usually make pipes in Revit is I head over to the Manage tab, and then over here I go to Additional Settings. I'm going to click over here, and I'm going to go to Line Styles. Click on that, and we're going to go ahead and create some line styles. I'm going to go and create a new one. We're going to call this Hot Water, and I'm going to press OK. This is going to have a line thickness of 2. It is going to be a red line, so I'm going to click red right next to it, and hot water is usually represented with like a dash followed by 2 dots. So I'm going to search for like dash dot dot. Here we go, dash dot dot, and I'm going to click on that. I'm going to create another one. This is going to be cold water. The cold water line is also going to have 2 thickness. It is going to be a blue color. And cold water lines are typically represented with dash dot. So we would need a dash dot system. there is dash dot. I'm going to click on that. We're going to need a drain. So there's a number of things that actually make up our plumbing system, and we're only going to have, let's say, 4 of them, but we can actually add a lot more. So our drain, and drains are typically 2 thickness as well, and they are solid green lines. And it's usually a darker green, so I'm going to select a darker green from these options and create my drain. And we also have a vent, which is to help those foul-smelling odors from exiting into your house and causing issues. So if we wanted to, we could create a vent, and it is 2 thickness. It is a black line, and it is just a consistent dashed black line. So I'm going to go to dash and click on that. Hit apply, hit OK, and we've created all our line types. At this point, I typically recommend saving your project. I'm going to click save because you just don't want to remake those if it crashed on you. And let's go ahead and add them in now. I'm going to go over to the architecture tab, go over to where it says model line. I'm going to click on my model line, and over here in the line styles area we have all the lines that we created as well as some additional ones that are there by default. So let's go ahead and add in our cold water first. So cold water, click on that. And there are 2 paths that the water can take. It can go to the water heater and then escape and then leave as hot water, or it can just travel to whatever fixture that it needs to travel to. The water has been treated, so even if it doesn't enter the water heater, it should be perfectly fine. So I'm going to draw this from the exterior. I'm going to have it cut into the wall and head over to the water heater and then click like that. Now, this might be happening to you also, but you might notice that the second we pass through the wall, it didn't show up here. And that could be a problem because we need these pipes to run through the wall, and if we can't see our pipes, then we can't really see what's going on. Couple fixes for that. The first thing I would try is just go over here to your visual styles and switch it over to wireframe. That will most of the time fix it. Another option is we could hide the wall. So if I click on the wall, I can right click on it and I could go hide in view and I can hide it. But that is something that I don't want to do at this moment because then I have to unhide it. But you know what? Let me just go ahead and show you. Hide in view, elements, and you can hide the wall. You just have to keep track then where the wall is at because you need to turn it back on eventually. To unhide the wall, go over to the little light bulb located down here. Click on Reveal Hidden Elements, click it, and you're going to see your hidden wall show up in pink. You just want to click on the wall, and then go to Unhide Elements on the top. And if you press that, and then close out of the hidden mode, you will have your wall back. And that's useful as well. Okay, I'm going to continue drawing this. So we have our line going into the water heater, and we are also going to run it across the walls now to our toilet, and I pressed escape, but then I'm going to also run it to our tub. So we're creating a pathway for the cold water. It has multiple options, and we actually should probably divert it to the sink as well. So cold water. We'll do the same for hot. So hot water. Hot water doesn't come in from the outside, it leaves from the water heater. So to help with this, I'm actually going to press escape a few times and zoom in a little so we can see this better. Model line, hot water, and we are going to draw a hot water line. I'm drawing it relatively close to my cold water line. There's just only so much space you have in these walls, so you're just trying to get the best representation possible. We are not going to put hot water in the toilet. I will let you think about that one if you don't understand why, but I'm sure you can figure that one out. So there's hot water going to our sink. And then we need a way for the waste or the, bad water to, that's not what we usually call it, to escape or to leave the property. So we will also have a drain line showing the pathway of exit from the building. And it's usually heading back to wherever it needs to get retreated. So it should be heading out in the same way it got in. I can draw this one from the drain like so. So there's a lot going on here. And typically the drain and the vent are part of the same system. So we don't need to draw in the vent line because it usually just blends and merges. But if you want to, you can draw that in as well. Vent line. Let's see how it overlaps. Yeah, that was my concern. It is hidden. Or actually kind of shows up. So I guess if you want to draw it on top, the vent and the drain oftentimes work as a similar system. So you can represent them as such. But boom, this is it. This is a plumbing plan. We've represented it. All we need now is a legend to close this up. So I'm going to show you how to do that in my next video, and we will move on to how to create floors. Okay, I will see you then. Peace.